Hello everyone, and today I welcome Ishan Munjal again to my podcast episode, and we'll be discussing about the real estate market of 2024 and a bit about 2025. And let's do one more introduction again.
Sure. So thank you again for having me. I've been doing real estate for more than 5 years now, and I've been doing well. I enjoy the whole process of real estate, and this is something which keeps me exciting. Every day I just look forward to do something new. So that's why I'm here on the Monday morning.
That sounds good, and it keeps us exciting because the market is very exciting right now.
It definitely is, because market, I think the right word is uncertain, right? So if you are a buyer, buyers are thinking it's crashing or it's crashed or whatever.
Yeah.
If you are a seller, there are different anticipations with the rate cuts. So definitely it's very exciting and I would say it's a time to be cautious and take decisions carefully.
I think because it's very uncertain. Every time someone hears this is a mortgage agent, they ask me what's going to happen with the interest rates, and I think same would be happening with you, where people would come to you, what's happening in the real estate.
This is always a first question is, how do you see the future of real estate? That's the first question. I was talking to somebody, a seller who is gonna list the property most likely with me, and we were like, the first question is asked like, well, how do you anticipate the near future?
Yeah.
And my answer was like, things are gonna get better for sure. At what pace they are gonna get better, like market will dictate, right?
That we can only see together.
They will only see it together, and these rate cuts and everything, definitely they are being done to keep the economy in a healthier position, and economy is real estate, right? So real estate automatically will get healthier.
So let's start with our topic now. Let's discuss about 2024 first. And as you said, the market is very uncertain. But what are some key differentiating or specific points you see right now?
So if I talk about 2024 as a whole, real estate was slow. It was slow. It is kind of slow, but it doesn't mean real estate is not moving. I myself have done decent amount of transactions already. I have closed 2 properties since last week only. So that tells me like real estate is moving. It's just especially from mid of this year towards this year, people from buying perspective, those who are looking for deals, they got deals, because I have dealt with certain transactions where, if I give you an example, because I love giving examples, the last property which I closed, I have sold my client's property and bought them the property. Selling part, preparing the property and keeping everything ready, make sure your property is top notch. So it took us time to project the property in the market, and then it took us a couple of weeks to sell the property. During this process, my sellers were being impatient because they had to buy the property as well. You won't believe. So let's just say we sold the property yesterday. I bought them the property next day. So it was, and that too, the property which we bought, I bought them the property in Caledonia. It's a town in Haldimand County. We bought it for $885. The house, just next house, not even 100 feet away, just the next, they share it's a detached house, but it's just the next one. That got sold for $950, I think 3-4 weeks back. I bought them the same square footage, same everything, next house for $885. And that's where, so it is no brainer. Yes, market is uncertain and market is affordability, everything is there. But if you try to get the right deal, there are deals out there where you can bank upon. So that is one. But overall, the sentiment right now is that buyers, they are feeling that with the interest rates drops, things are gonna get busier, and which I would agree to. So I'm getting calls of people who were sitting on the sidelines from almost a year. Now they are targeting to get something in these winter months, from October till December. People are literally texting me and saying me, I want to target this quarter to get something, because I have a feeling that things might get busier in the spring next year or early next year, you never know, right? So that's the sentiment is changing, right? And from sellers perspective, people whosoever can hold, they are holding for that timeline to come. I do deal with some people, those financially it doesn't make sense to hold certain properties for at least a couple of months. So they are the ones selling and they don't care, because they are thinking of the present situation and they are making the right call, which is for them as well.
That's very true. I think on my side as well, I'm looking at the same thing. And when it comes to you and me or any other broker or agent, it actually depends on us how many deals we get based on our work. But when it comes from the buyer's perspective, I would say the market was slow for 2024, especially around June, July. I felt the hit too.
Yes, everybody did.
And after that, right now I'm seeing, I think I wrote almost 7 pre-approvals in the last 2 weeks.
See?
And I'm seeing that people are a bit more optimistic towards the market with whatever is coming up. And there are some reports that economists are predicting that there will be a 0.5 cut in October as well.
Correct.
So that makes the consumer sentiment a little more positive.
And to be honest, if mathematically, right, just forget about sentiment and forget about that whole negative publicity about crash, whatever, just think maths, right? So the moment those monthly payments will start making sense for people, you are in that approximate 30% of your income going towards real estate, going towards your mortgage. When that starts happening, and it will start happening soon, right? So at that time, it will be no-brainer. People will start jumping on it. But how I see this is the worst part is almost over. From last an year or so, I would say probably 2 years, right? Real estate was kind of coming down because it was pumped too much. So it kind of settled. But now I think from 3 to 6 months, you will see a healthy movement start happening in real estate.
That's right.
So one thing I would call out is what I have seen, as the saying is, right? The real estate is all about location. So what I have felt is the locations which were remote, those got hit very badly. I have 3 properties right now in market, one in Oakville, one in London, and one in Sarnia, which I'm selling. So you won't believe, Sarnia is too remote, right? Getting a showing is tough, the price range which our house is. And even London, I was kind of surprised. We did get a showings here and there, but it was not as much as, because I had a townhouse which is 500s range, right? It's not too expensive one, but still I could feel that the market is very, very slow. So again, it's very like coming back to basics, like, the good locations, they are still in demand. You have sold a house in Hamilton within 2 weeks. Things which are in high demand, good locations, they are moving for the right price. But overall, people who have bought remote areas at high price and thinking they can recover those prices, they don't want to take a loss, or they just want to see how market turns up, those properties are not moving at all. That is one thing which I have observed.
And one thing that I would like to pick on as well is, you said there are a few buyers of yours who are looking to get into the market during the winter time. So I'm also expecting that this winter, year over year, actually from the past 2 years, is going to be much more busier for us.
True, because one thing I even tell people is real estate is like stocks, right? For stocks, it works on a news. Even though, let's just say somebody, they are thinking of changing the CEO of a company, they are thinking, stocks will start moving, thinking good person or the good team will come and they will make the company, grow the company. So people will start buying those stocks. Real estate is nothing like the same, right? Now everybody is anticipating there's a cut in the horizon. So things are going to start moving. So before October, even before actual rate cut, I would anticipate a week or two before, things will quite slightly get busier, because everybody will be in the anticipation and more people will come into the market.
Well, hopefully that happens. Good for us. So next question to me was, now for the buyers who are looking to buy in November or December, let's say, do you think they are making the right decision?
So to be honest, nobody can time the market, right? What I tell people is real estate is always a long-term game. So there are few things you have to be considerate about. First, if you are in a buyer's market, you have to make sure that you are banking upon it, right? If people are working with me, coming back to the same example, so they have seen that 3 weeks back, the same property was sold for 950. I told them I will try to get you for less, and I got them for 885. It is no brainer. And to see the difference is almost $60,000-$70,000, right? So that is the deal which we are talking about. So in nowhere you won't see 950 property, now you can buy for 500,000. It's not going to happen, right? But that's where, so how I've done that deal is because I have kept my clients at a very safe spot. Even though there will be some change, like 2% here and there, but we have bought that property at that lower price, so they won't feel the hit, right? Just in case, because I don't think now we are going to see anything more adverse, just in case, because nobody knows, right? So that is one thing. If you are in a buyer's market, that's the name called, right? It's a buyer's market, so you have to jump on it, and you don't have to buy anything at the market price. If somebody is telling you, if I tell you this property is worth 550, so your question should be like, at what price I can get it? 550 is actually my market, right? Yeah. It is not a seller's market. That is one. Number two is, in any market you buy, the numbers have to make sense, right? If you have $1 million property, it doesn't mean I should have to buy $1 million property too, right? The basic principle to buy real estate, especially when it's your first home, is make sure that you are not spending 30 to 35% of your monthly income in real estate, in your mortgage expenses, right? If it's under 35% umbrella, whatever property you are buying, you are okay. As long as you are going to hold this property for at least 3 to 5 years, you will not be in the loss. And I can give you in writing, right? If you hold the property for 5 years and you are 35%, your finances are in order, you will be in a good spot, right? The overall, I had dealt with so many investors. I COVID investors, right? That everybody thought next year we will make 100,000, another year we'll make 100,000 out of this property. Those are the people who got stuck in very bad situations. But if the real investors who understand numbers, there are very few of them which are definitely, everybody felt the heat of market downgrading and things changing. Interest rate, everything had felt the pain, right? But they are still at the better spot. If you compare with the people who just close their eyes and start buying landies, whatever is there, just buy. Those are the people who are struggling, who have struggled. But if you have the basic principles in hand, you will always succeed. So I think these two things, I think if you keep a focus upon. And third thing is very important about location, right? You don't always invest in good location, right? Do not think like Edmonton or the remote areas. Now you see, right, people are selling townhouses for $200,000-$300,000, but getting a townhouse maybe in Kitchener-Waterloo or in Hamilton for $500,000-$600,000, or getting in Edmonton for $400,000, I would prefer you buy in Kitchener-Waterloo or in Hamilton or wherever, in the good locations where you see that everything is around you, where you have industry around you, where you have jobs around you, where government and corporations are putting money in those cities. Those cities will flourish and always will be in demand, right? Just don't go for a cheaper option out there, because cheaper is not always the best option.
That's true.
So these three things.
Sounds good. So this was 2024.
So now we talked about the 2024, what happened in real estate. So let's just give people an idea about what's going on in the financial world. But how do you see the interest rates right now? How do you anticipate the rates in future?
Okay, so interest rates, there are two types, fixed and variable.
Right.
What we see in the news, the talks are all about variable rates. No one talks about fixed rates. So let me touch on that first.
Sure.
Fixed rates are already over a 1% lower than what they were at the beginning of this year.
Yes.
So, and we are also seeing rate wars now. I call that rate wars because banks are fighting for business right now, because they are expecting the rates to go further down and market to pick up.
So just for reference perspective, so what were the rates, fixed rates in the beginning of this year, and which range they are right now?
So beginning of the year, rates were over 5.5%.
Yep.
Right now, as the rate wars are going, again I'll say rate wars, as the rate wars are going on, there are rates available in high threes as well. So
high threes as well. Oh wow, amazing.
So 5-year insured rates are available at 3.99.
Amazing.
So you can see the difference, but this is not talked in the news. In the news, you'll see
prime rates, right? They talk about prime, and then what is the prime right now?
So right now, as you can see, we already had 3 rate cuts, and we are expecting another one, a jumbo rate cut, because our inflation rate came at the target 2%, which the Bank of Canada wanted.
Right.
And I think it came a bit earlier than expected, according to what the economists expected as well. One thing that I would like to share about the inflation rate, the prime rate right now it's 6.45.
Right.
And another 0.5 cut, it will take it down to 5.95.
Right.
So it's a good news for variable rate holders who already have variable rates. But if anyone is looking to buy as well, even to them I'm recommending, if you can afford the payment based on what the prime rate is today, then go for it. Now, prime rate is not the interest rate on variable.
Right.
It's always prime plus or prime minus. Right now, we can see deals for insured prime. For first-time home buyers, they can buy at prime minus 1%.
So in October, let's just say, if we get lucky, it comes to 5.95. So variables, somebody can easily get for 4.95. Yes, that's what you're saying. And then if you want to play safe and lock it, so I think probably when October reduction happen, fixed will be even lower, right? So somebody can even get high threes, somebody can get 3, 4, 5 year fixed in high threes, right?
So I'm expecting, actually there are a few banks offering high threes. I'm expecting a lot of them to offer high threes very soon.
For 5-year fixed.
For 5-year fixed.
Amazing. See, so we came from almost high fives to high threes now, and it is a big difference. If you calculate, do the math, I'll tell people, you just open any mortgage calculator and just put 500,000 as your mortgage, and put numbers 5.95 and put 3.85 or 95 and see the difference on 3 payments. That's what I was saying, right? So when mathematically it will start making sense, we'll say, yeah, I can afford $1,500 or $2,000 per month for this mortgage. It is easy for me. Well, it was not easy before, right? 2,000 was 3,000 or 3,000 plus. I think there is a light at the end of the tunnel, as they say, and just to see that light, and that's because we professionals, like you have your mortgage numbers, right? I have my real estate transaction numbers. We can see the light probably sooner than other people, but eventually everybody will see it when we have the brighter days.
That's true, and I don't think that's too far away, because though fixed rates and variable rates aren't connected, fixed rates are based on the bond yields.
Right.
So bond yields, time there is some kind of announcement. The way you said stock moves, bond yields move as well.
Correct,
with
yes.
So bond yields actually go lower first before the Bank of Canada makes an announcement.
So since you brought up the bond yields, I know many people that doesn't understand bond yields. I know some part of it, maybe I don't understand fully. So bond, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
bond yield is nothing but people are buying bonds, like interest rate bonds. With an as they buy stocks, they buy bonds, right? Anticipation of what would be, they think what will be the future of interest rates, these prime rates, right? So since that's their business, that's their bread and butter, but like you and me, they might know it better. So you're saying the way they invest, if the yields are down, that means they are not forcing it to go, interest rates to go up. That's where you say yields go down first, and then because they know this is coming.
Yes. So based on the expectations, the yields change. Why we look at yields so much is because it's the safest form of investment for any country. The government bond yields are the safest, then comes your GICs, and then we start for other investments. So because the bond yields are the safest, that's the number one indicator of what's happening with the interest
And the economy, right? Like what's going to happen most likely. That's good to know. So now I have to ask you one more question. So now we know October, let's just say 0.5 happens, right? Where do you see prime rate being settled and fixed and variable being settled next year?
Okay, so of course I don't have the exact number.
Obviously, just a guess.
What the estimate is anywhere between another of 1.5 to 2%.
Oh wow.
By the mid of next year.
By the mid of next year. So, but then again, the bank deals will change, because when they see things are settling down, then your fixed probably would still be 3.5 or 3.7 or 3.8.
We are not expecting that the rates will go back to those 1%.
Oh, obviously.
The major expectation is that the fix will range anywhere between 3 to 4% next year, and prime's gonna go down by another 1.5 to 2%.
Okay. Just get the fix because your numbers for next 3 to 5 years, or what do you think, like see how this runs?
It's an individual preference. Whenever I do a mortgage, I ask them, are you comfortable taking a little bit of risk?
Yeah.
If you can, I still say go for variable. Variable, as it's because variable rates are provided at a discount. As I said, you get prime minus 1%.
Right.
So if you're getting a discounted rate, and if we are expecting that the things move in the right way as expected, you'll see some benefit in some time. And if not, let's say the market doesn't move the way it is expected to be, in every variable rate mortgage there is a clause that you can shift to fixed rate mortgage at no cost to the borrower. You just have to call the bank or your broker, call me and say that I'm not comfortable, or I just don't see the value of variable right now, I want to go to fixed. Right. You just have to make that call and your mortgage changes from variable to fixed.
Perfect. So I think the bottom line is definitely your preference, which numbers you are comfortable with. But if you want a little bit smart and take a slight risk, probably for time being, if you are closing the house probably in next few weeks, you will probably go for variable. And then when you see the numbers are making more sense, now it's the good time to lock. You can very well lock, right? Yeah. So that you have a peace of mind that these numbers I'm comfortable with. I don't care for next 3 to 5 years what's going to happen, because I do definitely, they are not going to start increasing the rates, that's for sure. But I just wanted to point out just one thing which I have seen couple of my clients. When the interest rates were too low, people were like kind of greedy. We have done a mortgage for somebody, variable was 1.6 and fixed were 2 point something, but the guy took 1.6, considering like let's just pay very 1.6. Last I talked with them, they were like paying 6.5 from 1.6 to 6.5. It was a big change.
You can go from variable to fixed at no cost. You cannot go from fixed to variable. You will have to pay penalties.
Right.
So that's why all those people who are in variable and who saw that payment shock in their payments, they actually don't have much choice.
Right. So one other thing is, I'm just changing the topic now. I think the one thing I tell people is, in social media world, negative posting and negative publicities get attention. If we start talking like, real estate is crashing tomorrow, and XYZ, and people will be like, this is the guy, he is telling the right thing. Because I don't know, this is how the human brain function. Majority of us, we appreciate negativity. And especially in social media, right? That I made it funny the other day. I was like, if you just call me or FaceTime me and start shouting on me and just record it and put it on social media, I won't be surprised there are hundreds of thousands of people have just seen that shouting and somebody is shouting, because I don't know. This is what it is, right? You would agree to it, right? So I have seen similar publicities going on where now people are saying US has cut the rate. The last time when they have cut the rate, we went into recession, and recession is on Some people are saying we were in recession already. GDP was not growing. It didn't go beyond zero. That's why officially they didn't call it recession. But there was not at all growth in overall Canadian economy. So it's just they didn't say it recession, but you and me know, right? Every entrepreneur who do job or would do whatever to make a living, they can feel like we were in recession, right? Now I want us to pull some historical numbers, because Canadian economy and the US economy is very different. US is a big giant. Canada is different. Canada has a very good checks and balances, which keeps the economy in order, because they have to be, because we don't have so much leeway to move around. So I just want to pull few historical numbers, how Canadian economy has reacted to those rate cuts in the past.
So before we go to the historical numbers, I would like to touch upon the numbers that are right now as well.
Right.
So GDP right now, it's growing. But can you guess what's the number one factor of the growth of GDP right now?
Population growth?
No, it's actually government spending.
Oh yeah, I have read about it, yes.
So government spending. So government is putting efforts from their side that it doesn't show up that we are going into recession.
Right.
And second thing that I would like to touch upon, that why we are expecting the market to improve and the interest rates to cut down so much, because you will see so much negativity that no, there will be no impact to the market. For that, my answer related to inflation is that if you take out mortgage cost and rental inflation out of the last inflation number that we have. Now I want you to guess what is the current inflation.
Oh, so if we just skip the real estate,
so
the other things, maybe it would be higher, I would think, because I think maybe I have no idea, to be honest.
It's 0.9%.
Oh, there was no inflation at all.
So that's why I'm saying that Bank of Canada has met its target.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So if you just skip those mortgage numbers, rest things are in order now. Those things are not getting inflated.
It doesn't mean that the prices will start going down. They're still going up, but at a slower pace now.
Right.
So 0.9%.
Well, I think now, if I retrospect, is now even just at a very basic, the grocery prices, sometimes I get a feel that things are still slightly came down. The strawberry boxes, onion bags, they were $1 or $2 less it was before. Now, since you said, I could see that something is happening.
There are a lot of factors. There are a lot of things which go up and down, but gas prices went down a little.
Right.
And plus, as the reason why I say that we'll see more rate cuts is because if we are at 0.9% without the mortgage and other costs, then we don't need that mortgage cost to be high.
And I think, yes, numbers are in favor. And the other important factor is that we have elections around the corner.
Yeah.
When you say the government is spending too much money to keep the economy healthy, that is the prime reason. They don't want to lose. Nobody want to lose, right? So everybody, whosoever has the power, who has the governing rights, they want to keep maintaining it, right? And also in US, so the elections are happening right now, right? That's where you see the US economy is growing like anything, right? The last quarter, it has grown so much, and the reason for that is elections, right? You have to be truthful to ourselves, right? And everybody is smart enough nowadays. People do understand how things work, how much pressure government can put on Bank of Canada, and how much at some point of time some numbers can be manipulated too, right? If the controlling parties are moving in that directions and they have all the power and the rights, they will make it happen, right? If you keep on shouting like, don't cut the interest rate, it will make economy bad, it will make XYZ, right? But they have the numbers to refer and they will just make a change, right? So that is another big factor I would say to people. Elections, like they want to make sure by the time elections happen, economy at least have a positive sentiment in there, so that people can vote happily, right? That you are not in the stress and shouting, and that you are in a happy mood and you can vote whosoever you want to, and at least they get some votes in the pocket.
These government spending plus the new regulations, we'll discuss about that too.
Yes.
And these all are coming so that we see a relaxed market, and so that people are a bit relaxed.
Because they want, at the end of the day, they want a healthy sentiment, not only real estate, all across the board. So from past year or so, there is uneasiness in the market, not in real estate market. Even though if you drive, you can see people driving, you can feel that uneasiness on the streets. That reflects the mindset, what is going on. So that's where they are trying to get to. Let's just put a positive sentiment. And you have seen a lot of news where immigration, they are controlling, keeping it very down. New students are not coming now. I was reading an article yesterday that there are so many protests going on from students, especially from India, that they are not giving them work permits now, and they want them to go back. But every immigrant or everybody who comes, especially on a student visa, the dream they get sold out to is eventually you will get a Canadian PR or Canadian citizenship. So it was something, even though it was not on paper, but they had that thought imbibed themselves, like, yeah, this is it, I'm gonna get. But now, since they are trying to control so many things to keep the economy healthy, At the end of the day, that will indirectly help economy to revive a bit because there will be less competition, right? So I think there are so many things happening behind the scenes, which is targeting that election date. By the time they want all of things to happen and make a positive impact at that time.
That's true. So now let's get onto some historical data now.
Sure. So what I tell people is like always believe in data, always believe in history, what happened. So there is one saying that history doesn't repeat itself, but history rhymes. You know what that means? It won't be as same as what happened in the past, but it will be something similar. That's how you people like these smart people, economists, or they make their educated guess because they have the data with them, right? They can see in the past what happened with the economy with these rate cuts, how economy reacted. That's why they tell you this is what we are seeing. That's why people are predicting October we are hoping 0.5 cut, right? But let's just talk first about 2008 and 2009 financial crisis. I'm going to refer the numbers in front of me. So during 2009 crisis, the rates they've got cut in Canada too from 4.25 in early 2008 to 0.25 by April 2009. So it was a huge cut because US was in recession, the whole world was in recession, right? So what happened in that during time frame? Okay, the rate cuts, definitely the borrowing cost has dropped. Like borrowing, they made it easy. Overall, in real estate, like they started cutting the rates cuts by the mid of 2009. Real estate transactions have improved by 50%. Here now you see, they started cutting 2008, 2009 mid was easier. So this is one. So now another one is like 2015, there was a oil price shock where the oil prices have way down, the shock in the economy. And then they cut the interest rates from 2015 from 1 to 0.5%. Okay, what has happened in that time frame is because Alberta specifically is the oil market, right? It has got the whole hit, but Toronto and Vancouver, they got busier. Borrowing got way cheaper. So immediately when the rate cut happens, the housing starts improving immediately, like not like 6 months or a year. So that's where we have seen the prices and the transactions like more. Another point I have is during 19 pandemic, it is everybody knows this, right? What happened in the real estate market? That the interest rates, like it was a free money again. Like some people got 1%, 1.25%. You and me know, and everybody knows. We don't have to talk much, but the prices and how busy the real estate was at that time, right? Then I'm gonna take you guys away beyond. Since these are like numbers, but in 1990s when recession happens, so the rate got cut from 14% to 5%. 1990 to 1996. That time, took time for real estate to recover. It as a 1990 housing bubble at that time. It took a long time. So 90 till 1996, they have keep on cutting the rate cuts, but real estate got healthier at the later part of 1990s and early 2000s. This is another perspective, right? That again, see those data points and then you make the educated guess. Right? Then the early 2000s, there were some rate reductions. Then we have that 9/11, happened in US. At that time also, Canadian economy took a hit. They have reduced the rate cuts from 5% in 2001 to 2.25% by 2004. So they keep on reducing those cuts. In the early 2000s, the economy has seen a boom because of the lower interest rates. Over the time when that happens, real estate got busier, keep on slashing the interest rates, and the major which got benefit out of this is Toronto and Vancouver, like all Toronto nearby and Vancouver, because they get busier first. Overall, this data, and you guys can see on your screen too, like these data points is telling me like whatever that happened in the past, we didn't went into like a worrisome situation. Like sometimes some instances took a time for market to recover. Sometimes it was way quicker than anticipated, but eventually it got recovered from that situation. And it would be foolish to say like nuts things will get worse, and you will see people coming out in the streets. I see some videos like we are in a hardship. You're not saying like to the October rate cut you will see people lining up to buy. No, right? But eventually that's what the intention is. Like intention that people will line up, but the intention is the economy will be in a better spot. Right?
Of course, yeah. As you said, right, I think we are in the recovery mode right now.
Right.
We are recovering from what we saw in the last couple of years. And now slowly and gradually the real estate market will recover, and then we'll start to see the increment in housing as well.
Right. So again, bottom line is nobody knows at what pace is going to improve. An educated guess. But again, if you're thinking of getting into real estate, cannot give you a timing. This time, will come again to the basics. Think of those basics when they make sense. That is your time. Into it, then hold on to it for 5 years. You will be at the better spot.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
I would like to touch upon one more thing. Like we compared previous numbers. I'll share the 2008 bond yields as well.
Okay.
So bond yields in 2008 and for the last 1 year were almost the same before the bond yields went down recently.
Okay.
If you see that trend in 2009, the bond yields dropped down a lot, and we are seeing a similar trend right now. We came down from 4.4% last year September to
Yeah.
right now we are around 2.7%.
Okay.
So the bond yields are following the same pattern as well.
So is it fair to say that if we relate the data with 2008, right? Is it fair to say that we were kind of, and it was not publicly announced and it was kept in a way so that people won't lose their morale, and now that period is getting over, and now we will see the healthier economy, right? That's what bond yields are telling us, right? That they already have seen that.
Yes,
Yeah.
as we can see that GDP is growing, the major contribution is through government spending.
Correct.
And you and I saw the hit too, like we felt it.
Yeah.
We could see that the transactions were way too low.
Right.
And actually had to work too hard.
Yeah.
Still working hard so that we get deals.
Mhm.
So it's not just for us, it's for us, the employed people, business people.
Everybody,
everyone.
right, yeah.
They could feel it, and of course it wasn't on the papers that no negative numbers in the last few months. but,
Yeah. That R word was not called out,
Yeah.
but apparently that R word was around.
Yes.
Another example I will give you is that there were no jobs for students this last summer.
Yeah.
You know, I have not seen that happening. Like, especially in summers, you will see everywhere, right? All McDonald's, Tim Hortons, you will see hiring more, right?
Yes.
Because things like economy gets busier, people go out in summers more. You know, they need people to work upon. But this time there were no jobs.
No,
Like
this-
students, literally, they were home.
This summer, I think June or July, one of the month was actually flat.
Yeah.
The GDP growth was flat.
True.
So,
Right. So no, I think this is good to know, and hopefully, like, we are in a recovery journey as we think we are, and the things we have brighter days in front of us.
yeah. At last, let's just touch upon affordability as well.
Like, is a term which is being discussed everywhere now, and it is true too, because I see like numbers of house prices, right? Those things have changed quite a lot. Like, it's expensive, and it is hard for people to afford, you know. And I know, like, itself is changing some rules to give some cushion to people. You know, how do you see those things getting affordable, or what exactly is going around us to make things affordable?
Okay, so let's start with the interest rates. They directly impact the affordability.
Yeah.
We are looking at interest rates going down, so of course affordability is going to improve.
Right.
But I would say just improve, not get the best.
Right.
Is government is producing a new programs in December, which are majorly focusing towards primary homeowners or first-time homebuyers.
Oh.
The first rule that will be coming into effect from December 15 is that insured purchases, like earlier you could buy with less than 20% down payment only on houses worth under 1 million.
Right.
Now that 1 million limit has been increased to 1.5 million.
Okay.
So this way I can give you a down payment example as well. Because down payment is one of the most difficult money part to save for people. Like,
Right.
To save a huge amount, like earlier for 1.5 million, you needed a 20% down payment, which
Okay.
was 300,000.
Correct.
Now you 125,000 in down payment for a
Uh-huh.
1.5 million house. Now we don't have to look towards 1.5 million.
Obviously, you know,
There are houses like which were out of reach people,
correct.
which were like if someone wanted to buy something for 1.1 million, they needed 220,000 in down payment. Now
Right.
they don't. Now for 1.1 million, they need 60,000, 85,000 down payment.
So what you're
So-
saying is, like, you don't have to think it way, like this is something to help you out.
Yes.
Like, now let's just say, as you said, was like, let's just say somebody loved the house and it was 1,025,000,
Yes.
right? That's where you are coming from,
Yeah.
right? 1,025,000 at that time, bank said, no, you need
You need 20%.
20% round, like approximately 200,000 plus something more, right? But now you can buy this maybe, you know, with maybe 120, 130, like
So
million.
to break it down, for the first 500,000, it's
Yeah.
5% down payment.
Correct.
And from 500,000 to 1.5 million, you need 10% down payment.
10% down.
So like, yeah, so coming back to, like, just for an 1.5 million, earlier you needed 300,000, now you need 125,000.
Correct.
There's a big difference of $175,000.
Yeah, because there is a, you know, again, coming back to the negative publicity, definitely, you know, are projecting it in a way like, this is going to help us.
Yeah.
Like, you are the one boring, right? If somebody is giving you have to pay it back.
Yeah.
If we have to give a positive spin to it, this is just to help you in get into the money. Doesn't mean you have to buy 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Like, wherever your numbers make sense, again, wherever your 30% of your expense sense going towards house, makes sense, only buy that. Do not buy, that number, but that's gonna help you if you are 10, 20, 30,000 off, like, that way you can just get in and then eventually work on your financials and make it more better.
Now, I'll discuss a few more negative things after I
Right.
discuss this point as well.
Sure.
Second is that for new builds,
Mhm.
the amortization is changing from 25 years to 30 years. So, two things which happen because of that is first, let's say you qualified for a house based on 25-year amortization as well. Now, if you go to 30-year amortization, your monthly payments becomes smaller.
Right.
So it becomes a little more affordable. Now, the second way to look at it is that if you did not qualify for the house at all, now instead of 25 years, you're qualifying at 30 years, you might qualify for the house.
For the household. And to be honest, like, our economy, like in US, I know you can 20 years, right? Here, you are gonna renew it between 3 to 5 years, right? So majority of it, right? Definitely nobody wants you to, like, I don't want your people, like true professionals, we don't want anybody to pay for 30 years. You will pay too much money to the bank,
Yeah.
right? But it's just that you can plan your future in a way. You don't have to pay for 30 years, maybe you finish it in 12 years, right?
Yeah.
And you keep on paying towards that principle, but at least this will give you a way to get into the market, right? If you are particular about certain locations, now you can get in market.
Yeah. So this is actually the number one negative feedback that we have been seeing in media, that now instead of 25 years, you'll be paying off your mortgage in 30 years.
Right.
No, it's not the right thing. You can be smart about it. Now, just not the interest rate at renewals, that's just one factor that you
Yeah.
can change banks, you can go for a better rate, but you can be smart about it and you can make small prepayments as well.
True.
You
I
don't-
always encourage, people like my clients and my investors, at the end of the day, again, do the maths, numbers, think of that another, additional 2 payments, 3 payments going towards the property. In a long run, how many years it's saving you,
Yes.
right? How much money you are saving. Because if you have that money and see that return of your investment, right? If that money makes sense and you are, closing your mortgage 5 year upfront, whereas you have to 50,000 to the bank for that money,
Yeah.
it's a no-brainer, right? For that payment, are you getting that 50,000 return for paying that, 20, 30, 50, whatever? So do that math.
Yes.
And, if math will tell you the right thing.
No, like me, for what I do for my clients, I give them a schedule. Like if you make a payment, let's say if you're making this
Right.
say $3,000 every year, that's additional. This is how quickly you can pay off your mortgage.
And those years are, I know, like recently one of my clients, they have paid 50,000 towards their principal, and their mortgage, I think they are now 5 or 6 year, before it was 25, now it's 16, 17, whatever. See, that not saying everybody has 50,000 laying around and they can pay, but you can mix towards your principal. At the end of the day, that will save you a lot of money.
Yes.
Right.
So it's not just that. For prepayments, like you don't have to think always with that. Okay, I need to save $1,000,
Yeah.
$2,000. You can just $100 to your payment.
Extra additional 100, yeah.
Just make an additional $100, and then okay, let's. If your monthly payment was 3,000, let's make it 100.
Right.
And you can
That makes a difference.
like $100, and by the end of the year, if you want to compare like where you were and where you are at now,
Yeah.
you'll see a big difference.
And also the other side to see this is, let's just say you got lucky and you are just paying 2.5 interest rate. And you are thinking, I am the best, like people are screaming around me. Put the 2.5, do math, and for your mortgage, see how much you are paying to the bank that for 25 years,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Those numbers are astonishing. And many people, they don't see that, they don't do that math. They think like, yeah, if I compare with you, you are 5 and 2.5 happy.
Yeah.
But banks are in for business, and they are making money from everybody. So be smart, math, and do not live in that horizon that you don't care. Like, I am the best, I have the cheapest rate, saving money. You're not saving money, you are paying somebody money, so you're making someone else rich. So
Yeah, that's
play
true.
smart and you make yourself rich.
Yeah, that's true. And the third thing I should touch upon, the changes that came recently in August, that instead of 35,000,
Mhm.
you can withdraw 60,000 per person from RRSP for first-time home buyers.
Okay.
Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is, let's say you want to buy a property over $1 million now, and you have money in RRSP, but you don't have separately saved in the down payment.
Mhm.
Now, you can actually use that money and even buy a property worth over $1 million with just your RRSP.
Yeah. So now they can get money from RRSP, and then they have the first time home buyer account too, right? For first time
Yes,
buyers.
first-time home
So
buyers.
there is you can save a lot of taxes, like 60,000 if you are getting tax free, and then I think every year you can pay 6,000 if I'm not wrong for that for first time home buyer.
First-time savings account, that's 8,000.
8,000, sorry, yeah. So then see, if you are contributing for let's say 3 years, so 24,000 right there, and 60, so almost 100,000, which is good for,
Yes.
your first home,
So-
like down payment.
And this is just person. If let's say a couple is buying,
Then you have 200,000.
You don't need to do anything. Like, 2 hours.
Yeah, keep your savings and investment aside. Use that money. I encourage people, like to be honest, like when I bought my first house, nobody told me. To be honest, like these things everybody knows. Not everybody knows. So that's why we have to vocal and tell people, because if there is beneficial, which is for you to take a benefit, take a benefit. Do not think like I will think about it when I have to buy a house. Start making those future plans. At least start contributing towards your first buyer account. RRSP, anyhow you will be contributing. Contribute it more if you can, right? And then use that money tax free. It's a no-brainer, right? You will say, good hundreds and thousands of tax from your funds. Why not, right? If people are saying, you should save it too.
So just one thing about this is that again you have to be a little smart and you have to be a little prepared to do this.
Prepared, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. So anything else you want to share?
I think just just wanna wrap this conversation on guess estimate we see 2025, because many people, this question, like out of 10 questions, this is the number one which I've asked, like how we see 2025. So I just want both of us give us our opinion, right? And again, this is just our opinion and our I would estimate. It doesn't mean it's gonna happen, but first, next year, whatever numbers we have even discussed, what that next spring to summer, I feel like it is gonna get busier, right? Like if you are, so again, I relate it to from buyers and sellers perspective, right? Buyers, if you are a buyer, I would probably, if you're still waiting for, let's say, a year or so, let's just see how everything is gonna play out. You have seen, things have came way down, and if I were you, I would be more aggressive, and try to capitalize on the buyer's market. I'm not saying, spring or maybe spring it will be a seller's market, no, but definitely the situation won't be the same as of today. Things will be in a positive, sentiment, right? So you will be the one losing a bit. If you're smart, you will try to get that deal as soon as possible. If you are a seller, if it's making sense to hold the property, because holding costs are, some properties are too much, and if I say to hold a property for 6 months, might have to, pocket like good amount of, for 30, 40, 50, depends, amount of money from there to sustain that property. So for sellers, I would say do not go with like summer I will sell, I will spend 50,000 from my pocket and then I will just get that 50,000 back. We are not sure, right? So do that math properly. If that numbers make sense to you and you are comfortable holding till summer, definitely hold till summer or spring, right? But if you think like you are taking a money from your HELOC or you are borrowing them at a very high, borrowing cost, maybe 10-15%, right? Then I won't, I will do the math and see mathematically what makes sense. If right now makes sense, go for it, rather than, if you have something in your hand, right? I would probably go for that. But if you think the numbers, I have money and I'm okay sustaining it, then your best bet is, sustain till summer, and then you will definitely get a better return on investment.
Okay, so that was good. I'll give my take now. Yeah. So I think we're in a buyer's market right now, and we are in a buyer's market and we are in a recovery period as well.
Right.
So I think in a few months we'll go first into balanced market. We'll see that the listings and buyers are kind of balanced out. And then, as you said, after summer, I see that I won't say it will be a complete seller's market, correct, but it will be on the better side of the balanced market.
Yeah. So I think the bottom line is, like especially from buyer's view, things won't be the same.
Yeah.
Today things will change. From sellers, you have to be cautious of timelines and numbers where you think is the right time for you. It might be for somebody, it might be today, somebody it might be summer, so post summer, right? For buyers, we are pretty sure, like the moment things are in a recovery period, the deals, like as I said, like $60,000-$70,000, those deals go away fastly, because when people everybody is smart enough and it's everybody's transaction, they do their due diligence, they have like us to work for them. That's why we are being paid, right? That's opinion will be for my sellers. I will just sit and do the math with them, right? And then I will do my recommendation. So then again, so just be smart and always look the data. Do not, I know there are influencers, who need followers, who need likes. Definitely many are smart, makes sense, they refer data, but do not go with the hype or negative hype. Be smart and look at the numbers. Try to understand the economy. There is no rocket science in it, right? If you and me and him make sense a little bit, you can also make sense. Look at the numbers and then see what's best for you, because whatever is best for other people might not be best for you. So everybody's situation is different. So go with the basics, look at the numbers and be smart.
Yeah, it was a great end.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Perfect.
for the time. And yeah, our contact is going to be below. So if you have any questions, if you need have any queries, the best time to reach out is now. Don't wait. You have to be prepared. And yeah, that was a nice one. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
for joining.
Nice talking.